Hello, darlings. I am Cassandra George Sturgis. Welcome to my channel, Authentic Beauty Handmade Dolls and Crafts. Now, what is interesting about the ponytail is that a lot of people may think that, oh, I'm wearing a ponytail because I'm vain. And maybe I am vain. But prior to having my children, I used to have really long hair. Not real long hair, but shoulder length, very nice, healthy hair. But after I had my daughter, my hormones changed and my hair fell out. And after my hair fell out, I could never grow it back to the same length. And this is when I started to wear ponytails. But I feel lucky because if my hair had not fallen out after I had my daughter, then I don't know what I would have used to make his beard, or even if I would have been exposed to the beauty supply store. So one of the things I want you to keep in mind is that when you are making your doll, you are telling a story. When you are selecting her hair, you are telling her story. Sewing in the weave, that's easy. That's the easiest part of this video. But deciding what hair best suits her personality, which hair, like in terms of color and texture and style, do you want to be able to do an updo? Do you want her to have an afro? There are so many factors to take into consideration when you are deciding on what type of hair to use for your doll. Your doll may say, you know what, I want to wear a head wrap, or I want no hair at all. So when you are making your doll, I want you to let her tell you how she wants to look and what is best for her. And I think this is the thing, like a lot of times people tell me my dolls look creepy because, I don't know, some people say that they look like they're alive or they look like they're looking at you. I think that one of the things that I hope to share with you is how to bring a doll to life. And I think when I say bringing a doll to life, I'm saying to create something authentic that's not a Barbie doll or a Monster High doll or American Girl doll that everybody else has. To create something that's coming from your heart and from your soul, you need to really think about how you want her to look. Now, it is possible to glue in the tracks for your doll's hair, but I do not recommend it. In the picture where there is a male angel and he has like these zebra striped wings, I glued in his hair, and now that hair has fallen out after maybe about 6 years. So I have found that the best way to put hair into your doll's head is to sew it in. And for my life-size dolls, when I'm around other artists, they tell me they are called fabric sculptures, but I still call them my dolls. It takes between 6 to 8 hours for me to weave in their hair. And for my smaller dolls, it usually takes about 2 hours. I'm not a fast sewer, and if you really want to do a good job with your doll, there are two things that I want to tell you. One, make sure that when the track that's going around the doll's face is framing her face, take your time and make sure you get that right. If you sew in the hair perfect, but you do not frame the face, it's just not going to look nice. So if sometimes I've made the mistake of starting the track too far back or too close to the forehead, and I'm usually never happy when I do that. So you want to make sure you frame the face perfectly, and you want to be careful with how you tuck the hair behind the doll's ears. So frame the face with the hair. Make sure it's perfect. Sometimes you might want to use some pins to hold it in place. And then also, you want to, when you're sewing the hair, you want to make sure you put the tracks close together. if you do not put the hair tracks close together, you'll see these big gaps, and you won't be able to change your doll's hair without seeing a lot of, I don't want to call it scalp, but the doll's head, and it really doesn't look nice. So you want to neatly place the tracks as close together as you can. Now, some of the more expensive hair, the tracks, like the weft that the hair is sewn to, is very thin, and it gives you a very smooth look when the tracks are thin. But if you use cheap hair, the tracks are thicker and it looks more bulky. Now, the hair that I sewed in for Josephine, it was buy one, get one free, and it was $2.99 a pack. Those wefts are so thick. Now, normally, I think, for, I don't want to say a more serious doll, because that's like not respecting Josephine. But I'm just going to say that hair is like, if I was going to do, a different type of doll, I wouldn't use tracks that thick, because I don't like the way the hair, it doesn't lay down. And then another thing is that once you tangle it, it's over. So with Josephine's hair, I made a mistake, I think, while I was sewing it in. A little bit of her hair got out of place, and it was just this big nappy curl. But when you buy a decent texture of hair, you can comb it, and you can, do more with it, and the hair looks really nice. And another thing I want to tell you is that when you're sewing in your doll's hair, don't be very careful, because I have ruined a couple dolls where I was sewing in the hair, and the hair, it caused the fabric to run in the doll's face. I don't know if you can, like pantyhose. You know how you run your pantyhose? Like sometimes you can sew in the hair and too tight, and it will run the fabric. Or it has sometimes altered the doll's features because I was sewing it too tight, or the way I sewed it in around the ears. So you have to be very careful with this technique. Another thing that's really interesting about hair, in addition to the fact that it tells a story of who we are and what we believe in, and our age and our culture, I think that this is more pronounced in the African American community probably than any other ethnic group. Now, I don't know, because you only pretty much know your own culture. But I feel like when I look at African American hair, sometimes people still use the term good hair. So when we're saying a person has good hair, we're saying that their hair is manageable, and that it's the hair that a mixed race person, or a person who is, I don't know the proper term, biracial person, who have the hair texture of a person who is biracial. And so because we feel that their hair is more manageable, we say that they have good hair. And I think this what's interesting is that when a person's hair is, the term nappy, it means that their hair is like really coiled, and it's not as manageable, and it's not as attractive. And I think that in the African American community, there's like a divide between people who have decided to go natural, which I think that's a movement now. We did that in the 60s and the 70s as well, with when James Brown was singing "I'm Black and I'm Proud," and people were wearing, I don't know if you guys remember the Afro Sheen commercials, and people were wearing these big afros saying, "Hey, I'm proud of who I am. I'm not going to perm my hair anymore." But I think what's interesting about it is that, to me, the people who are natural don't, kind of put down the people who decide that, I'm going to wear weave, or I'm going to have a sew-in. And I feel like that was a reference in the movie Black Panther. I think she said something like she was tired of having the weave in her hair, as if, that was beneath her. And I feel that what's interesting to me is hair is such a personal decision, and who cares? I mean, to me, like if you have a weave in your hair, or if your hair is natural, or if your hair is long or short, I feel like the most important thing about hair is how it reflects my mood. Like for I'm being super silly, but I am being honest. Like, sometimes I feel like I can't wear a particular dress because maybe my hair doesn't look right that day, or I don't have the right hair for that particular dress. Or if I'm wearing something really laid back, I like a more natural look. So I feel like my hair, for me, I'm more concerned with my hair reflecting my outfit and my mood of the day, as opposed to, making a statement about, a political view about life. But hair is very interesting, not just for your dolls, but for us as human beings. And I feel like as a woman, oh my goodness, and getting older, and when my hair first turned gray, oh my God, it was, and I thought, okay, it's one thing for my hair to turn gray, but do you really need to be around my edges? Do you really need to be in the front for everybody to see? Yeah, because I feel like nature says, look, I want people to know your age, and I want these younger men to know that if they want to have children, you're not the person. But I find it's so interesting how, we may look at it and say, oh, this is just a hairstyle, but nothing is ever just a hairstyle. It's always telling a story about where a person is. And so when you're selecting your hair for your doll, I really want you to put your heart into it. I really want you to determine if, your doll wants hair at all. Maybe she wants diamonds around her head. When I was making the Shaka doll, I actually bought some, I think it was the hair you do like those some type of braids with, and it just didn't seem to work out. So just make sure that you take in consideration the doll's personality. And for me, I like hair that's versatile. A lot of doll makers, I think they take hair and they tie it like in the middle, and then they glue it down to the doll's head. And I think that's okay too, because I don't want to be a person that's saying, hey, people can do what they want to do, but I'm just sharing, what I do with you. Before we move on to our next doll pattern, I am going to show you how I made the doll boots for Josephine, her robe, her house shoes, her bra, and her panties. I'm very excited about that. And then after we complete those tutorials, I'm going to move on to how to make Geraldine, but Geraldine, the mermaid sock doll, the doll that I used in this tutorial with the burgundy hair. So I'm really excited about that. See how nice and full her hair is? I love it. Oh my God, look at that. It is so gorgeous. I was so excited. I like to see my curls nice, thick, and rich like that. I know there's a doll inside of you who is just dying to come to life, but only you can breathe life into her. I look forward to seeing you in the next project. Thank you so much for watching.